Good morning, Laker fans. It is January 9th, 2019. Tonight, the Lakers take on those pesky Pistons, and I just could not resist a look at the scout on that one. Welcome to my channel, the RAS Laker Girl. I am your hostess, Rachel A. Smith. So, how about that Mavs game? Well, it was just lovely Monday night for the Lakers win against the Mavs. Josh Hart said that he was just tired of losing, and we all know in life the biggest changes happen when those feelings of disgust and disappointment hurt the most, and he certainly felt it. He just played with extreme passion, cockiness, and fight. The press contends that Josh Hart doesn't get the same pressure as the other younger Laker core, as the other young Laker core does, and I agree. And that's because Laker fans understand work ethic, passion, effort. We see that in Josh Hart, and we love that about him. We want him to be rewarded with more play. We want him to get that start. But hey, this is what happens when you back up LeBron James. But he is looking quite good right now. And let's see. A big example from Josh Hart. So after our first game of the season, it was our first loss of the season, our first loss with LeBron James. In the locker room, Josh Hart looked like he was going to cry in the post-game interview. You know, he cannot console himself with there's 81 games left. There's, it was a good defensive win for us. He doesn't like that. That's not him. He needs his W, and this is the kind of heart and heat and getting hot that I talked about in my Monday update this past Monday that the Lakers really need to show, and Josh Hart definitely showed that. And now it's just a matter of doing it again, consistently, repeatedly. Again, Lakers suck as a team. Well, they improve as a team. If one player can get hot, they all actually do get hot, and that's the joy of watching this team sometimes. So, onto those pesky Pistons, as they are called in the press, because they just hang around even if they can't close and win a game. In 2018, not much has changed for the Pistons because they're exactly in the same place they were at the end of the season. They were ninth in the Eastern Conference. They did have a 39-43 losing record last year. It takes about 45 games to make it in the playoffs on either side of the country, either side of that Mississippi. So they started the 2018 offseason by firing head coach Stan Van Gundy and GM Jeff Bauer. I believe they called it a parting of ways, and Pistons decided to pick up 2018 Coach of the Year and newly unemployed and definitely fired Toronto's Raptors coach Dwayne Casey as their new head coach. You're going to get fired if you win the Coach of the Year. So if you like your job, just hope you don't win that award. But they picked up Dwayne Casey. They just have very little cap space, so 2018 was very quiet for them. They do have a big three in place, a semi-big three. They're very decent. They have Blake Griffin as their power forward, Andre Drummond as their center, both all-stars in their own right. And they have this point guard, Reggie Jackson. So, and basically because of front office choices and just overall bad decisions, they just did not show much in the draft and not much for free agency either. And where are they now? Well, they are still ninth in the Eastern Conference. They still have a losing record. It is 17-21 at the midseason. They are coming off a 107-119 loss to the San Antonio Spurs. Blake Griffin had 34 points, 8 assists, and 2 rebounds. I think he should be ashamed of those 2 rebounds. Andre Drummond, he had 19 points, 14 boards. And Reggie Jackson, he had 14 points. Not disrespectful at all for Reggie Jackson. However, they say he's diminished in the new Dwayne Casey former Raptor system that they got going. But basically, they started this game out the way the Spurs like to start this game out. Pistons and Blake Griffin rained down a ridiculous number of 3 points in the first quarter. It was definitely that first quarter 3-point assault, a little flip-flop. The Spurs like to do that one. But once the Spurs turned on the defense, that was all she wrote for the Pistons. One online writer did call them the Pesky Pistons. I love to call them the Pesky Pistons because they did hang with the Spurs, but they get hauled down. They're just not really working that defense or working against that defense as well as they should at all times. So basically, Spurs won their 5th in a row with that one. But Pistons have actually lost 14 of their last 18 games, which is really rough. So where are our Laker boys? Well, the Lakers are firmly 8th in the Western Conference. Not too much of a threat around us either way. They have a 22-19 winning record, and they are coming off a very inspirational win Monday night against the Dallas Mavericks. The final, the Lakers 107, the Mavs 97. Brandon Ingram had a very exciting 29 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds. Lonzo Ball had 21 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. He needs to work on that consistency. JaVale McGee had 10 rebounds. And, of course, Josh Hart, the game of his life. He had 14 points, career high 6 assists. He had 12 rebounds. And he had a career high 5 steals. Now, there's way more to Josh Hart's game than meets the eye in the numbers world. He was assigned to hold down Wes Matthews, who averages about 13 points per game. He only had 5 in this game, and in the second half, when everything really got hot for the Lakers, they basically assigned Josh Hart and all that big-time defensive energy against Luka Doncic. He basically had an average game, which is sometimes what you get from a big man when you hold him down defensively. But, let's not make him an all-star. Really funny about Luka Doncic. Apparently, Andre Iguodala is really enamored by her. And because when I went to look up his stats when I was checking out the pregame, the thing that came up is Doncic's mom. So, and she is very pretty. She's a former model. Really good one for the moms out there. But I'll be right back to the Mavs game. Kuzma did return. He did not have any kind of a great game. He didn't even have an average game, but he definitely got that rotation spinning again, got that ball moving again. Braun and Rondo are still out. Braun might be out for the entirety of January. I apologize. I didn't realize it was that significant of an injury until the last couple days. I really expected him back Sunday night against the Cavs. Absolutely not, especially if he's hurting that much. And the Cavs really, it's kind of stinky. We'll get to that. So, as mentioned in my prior post, Lakers had retained their defensive rating without LeBron James. Illness, injury, all that. It is a 106.1 defensive rating. That means those are points allowed for the opponent. So they average about 106 for each opponent. So they need to score above that. Their offensive rating, their average points per game, needs to be above that to basically have them as a winning team in on paper. So and they held Dallas to 30 points in the entire second half of the game. They did. That is actually some type of Laker record. They haven't done it in something like 15 years. And remember, it was 97 for the game. That is one of those defensive markers that we are always seeking for these boys to do, and that is to hold the opponent to less than 100 points per game. Plus, we get tacos if they do it in Staples Center. And again, they had 60 points in the paint for the game. Again, always got to win the paint. And one plus to having the ability to suck as a team and to blow as a team and to just look like crap as a team. As I said before, they are going to excel as a team, which they did, and they did so without LeBron James. So it was a great game for the Lakers. If you do take the time to rewatch that game, because they run it over and over on Spectrum Sportsnet, be forewarned that the first half is ugly and it's a little hard to watch. I did rewatch it, but I watched the second half more. So back to the look ahead for tomorrow, or that would be today. I actually wrote this last night. Against those Pistons. Okay, players to contain against the Pistons. Of course, that would be Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. Blake Griffin averages about 25 points per game. He often does 30 points per game. He had a 50-point game this season. He's one of those players that just should be better, and he should make guys around him better. He just does not do that. If Blake gets his in any game, as you'll see in their losing record, he's having a pretty good season. He's actually having a pretty great season right now. but it doesn't show in the win column for the entirety of the team. And his assessment of their last loss, basically against the Spurs, was just that, hey, we make a few adjustments and we'll start dropping it like it's hot. So he's looking to score, score, score. And not his exact words, by the way. Looking to score first. They're totally a defense second team. We all know, living in that Mike D'Antonio world of defense doesn't matter, doesn't go very well. The Rockets doing much better, but not entirely that well. We know what he did to the Lakers. So you got to hold to Blake to his average or below his average. He can even have a pretty big game, and the Pistons still take a loss. Andre Drummond, similarly, if we win the paint, he does average 14 rebounds per game. The next guy that averages 4 rebounds per game, and it ain't Blake Griffin. So we can actually take over the paint in this game as well and be an excellent workout for our guys, our nice centers. But Pistons did give the Spurs a bit of a fight, raining down those threes in that first quarter assault. They will get tired, just as the Spurs do, and they will be able to be beatable over the next 3 quarters. Shirt first, defend later is their point, but don't be fooled. Their defensive rating is a 108, which is not too shabby, not too far from us. But basically, if Blake Griffin and Drummond are held to their averages, we should be able to win this game quite easily, especially if the Lakers bench continues to shine as they have been. I prefer to call them the second unit when they play this well. I need to remember that. But I think the Lakers should be able to win this game quite handily, especially if they bring the energy they brought Monday night. Okay, and remember, the Lakers have a big Friday ahead. LeBron James will be reevaluated again. Looks like they're saying end of January. I guess we'll see on Friday. I did think the Jazz, being ninth in the Western Conference with a 2020 record, would make them an extreme threat against us and make them want to just kill us. But they have fallen. They are 11th in the Western Conference. They now have a 2021 losing record. They intercepted the Bucks on Monday night. That was a 102-114 loss. Utah is expected to win against the Orlando Magic on the Wednesday night game. That would give them an even 500 record. And they'll also want to beat the Lakers. So they do have quite, with or without LeBron, everybody loves to beat the Lakers. And so they're going to actually probably give us a little trouble nonetheless. They always do. With that, the Lakers should retain, though, their eighth in the Western Conference seed, even with a loss. Even with a downer of a night, they should do well. And Sunday, the Lakers do host the Cavs at home. It should be a lovely game for us. Cavs lost another one Monday night. That was 115-123 against the Pacers. Now they have an 8-33 losing record. Yes, I do expect the Lakers to win the games they should win, and this is definitely one they should win. So Lakers should have a very good week ahead of them. I personally will be back for the Monday night Laker update. After that, Laker boys just need to do it again. They've shown they can do it, so now we expect them to do it more. And on the regular, good luck tonight against the Pistons, against the Jazz coming up, and against the Cavs, of course. Enjoy the game tonight, Laker fans. I hope you got what you needed here. Thank you for watching my channel, the RAS.LakerGirl, and I am your hostess again, Rachel A. Smith, and have a good one, Laker fans.